I was looking for something dumb to do in Roblox, because, as history has shown, terrible ideas usually make the best stories. That's how I ended up staring at a dating server. You know the kind. The place where everyone claims they're 17-foot-tall billionaires with six-pack abs and somehow every profile says single, don't waste my time. The atmosphere felt like a reality show produced with zero budget and unlimited confidence. Naturally, my brain looked at this digital circus and thought, what if I joined as a girl? Which is the sort of thought process that should probably come with warning labels. I wasn't expecting much. I figured maybe one or two people would say hello and then I'd get bored after 10 minutes. Instead, I accidentally opened the floodgates to one of the strangest experiences I've ever had in Roblox. I created the disguise. Nothing too outrageous. A decent avatar, some accessories, and a display name that looked like something you'd see on every other profile in existence. The goal wasn't to become some anime goddess capable of causing international incidents. I just wanted something believable. Once everything was ready, I joined the server and immediately understood why people treat these places like social experiments gone wrong. Within 30 seconds, someone walked up and said, "Hi, beautiful." 30 seconds. I hadn't even figured out where the cafeteria was. I wasn't even standing properly. My character looked like they had forgotten how knees worked. Yet somehow I was already receiving compliments. I replied with a simple, "Hi." That single word had the same effect as tossing bread into a pond full of hungry ducks. Suddenly, more people started showing up. One guy complimented my outfit. Another guy asked if I was new. Somebody else asked where I was from. I felt like I had accidentally become the main character of a dating simulator without downloading one. Then came the first contestant. This guy had a full suit avatar and enough confidence to power a small city. He walked up and immediately said, "Do you have a boyfriend?" Which is a bold opening line considering we'd known each other for approximately 12 seconds. I told him I was single, and I swear this man's soul left his body and came back stronger. The enthusiasm level increased by 100%. He started showing me around the map like he owned the place. Every 5 seconds he'd ask if I was having fun. I wasn't sure if I was on a Roblox server or being interviewed for customer satisfaction surveys. While he was busy playing tour guide, another guy approached. This dude had a bacon hair avatar and the confidence of someone who had watched one motivational video and decided nothing was impossible. He interrupted our conversation and asked if I wanted ice cream. Not in real life, obviously. Digital ice cream. Which somehow sparked the first love triangle I'd ever witnessed involving frozen dairy products. Suit guy immediately got defensive. Bacon hair wasn't backing down. Suddenly, 2 grown Roblox avatars were arguing over who got to buy me imaginary dessert. I sat there watching the chaos unfold like a nature documentary narrator. Here we observe 2 males competing for the attention of a creature who, unbeknownst to them, is just some guy laughing behind a computer screen. Things escalated quickly. Suit guy accused Bacon Hair of stealing his chance. Bacon Hair claimed he was simply being nice. Another player joined the conversation and decided he wanted in on the competition too. At this point, I had assembled the Avengers of Desperation. Every message I sent caused someone to respond within milliseconds. I could have typed, "I enjoy breathing oxygen," and they'd have acted like I had revealed the secrets of the universe. One guy kept calling me queen every sentence. Another guy started using heart emojis so aggressively that I was concerned he'd run out. Then there was the mysterious rich guy. Every dating server has one. The man with expensive accessories and a level of confidence normally associated with movie villains. He approached me and typed, "Ignore them, they're kids," which immediately caused everybody else to attack him. The server transformed into a courtroom. Suit guy argued that rich guy was arrogant. Bacon Hair accused him of showing off. Heart emoji guy declared that personality mattered more than money. I felt like I'd somehow become the grand prize in a game show nobody remembered signing up for. Rich guy then offered me a virtual mansion tour, which sounds ridiculous because it absolutely was. He walked me around his house, explaining every room like he was trying to sell me real estate. This is the kitchen, this is the bedroom, this is the pool. Meanwhile, 3 other guys stood outside the windows watching like rejected side characters. One of them literally yelled, "She's mine, bro." Mine. Like I was a limited edition trading card. I nearly fell out of my chair laughing. Things somehow became even stranger when rumors started spreading. Apparently, people in the server had decided I was some kind of celebrity. Nobody knew why. One player claimed I was famous. Another claimed I had thousands of followers. A third guy insisted he'd seen me before, which was impressive considering I had created the avatar 20 minutes earlier. Yet somehow these conspiracy theories made everyone more interested. It was like watching people add extra spice to their own confusion. Then came the gifts. People started handing me items. Food, flowers, random accessories. One guy spent half an hour trying to impress me with dance emotes. Another changed his entire avatar because I casually mentioned I liked blue. This man redesigned his entire existence over one colour preference. That's dedication on a level usually reserved for Olympic athletes. The funniest part was trying to maintain the act. Every conversation felt like walking through a minefield made of awkward questions. Someone asked what my favourite makeup brand was. I nearly had a system failure. I don't know anything about makeup. My brain started loading random names like a broken search engine. Thankfully, another player interrupted before I accidentally invented a cosmetic company. Then someone asked if I had TikTok. Another asked for Discord. One guy wanted to voice chat. That was when I realised things were becoming dangerous. Not dangerous in a serious sense. Dangerous in the sense that my cover would explode instantly if I spoke. So I pretended my microphone was broken, which apparently made me even more mysterious. Nothing creates interest faster than inconvenience. Suddenly, everyone thought I was shy and adorable. One player literally said, "Protect her at all costs." Protect me from what? Falling furniture? Tax season? I had no idea, but the white knight energy was incredible. At one point, a fight broke out because another girl joined the server and called me overrated. I hadn't even done anything. I was standing near a fountain existing peacefully. Yet somehow a rivalry formed. Several guys jumped into my defense like medieval knights charging into battle. Insults flew across the chat. Accusations appeared out of nowhere. One guy typed paragraphs longer than some college essays. The amount of commitment was insane. Meanwhile, I sat there wondering how we'd reached this point. The answer, apparently, was boredom and unlimited free time. Then came the proposal. Not joking. One guy, after knowing me for maybe an hour, got down on one knee and asked if I'd marry him. In Roblox, in front of an audience. People gathered around. Someone played music. Heart emoji guy cried in the chat. Suit guy looked betrayed. Bacon hair declared that love was dead. I genuinely thought I was experiencing a fever dream. I politely declined, and you'd think I'd cancelled Christmas. The man gave a speech about heartbreak. Another guy stepped in and declared that he'd treat me better. A third guy announced that destiny would bring us together eventually. I had somehow wandered into a soap opera written entirely by caffeine and bad decisions. Hours passed and things only became more absurd. Players followed me everywhere. If I entered a room, they entered too. If I sat down, they'd sit around me like disciples receiving wisdom. I felt like I had accidentally started a cult. One guy defended me so aggressively that he challenged anybody who insulted me to one-on-one fights. Another guy wrote poetry. Actual poetry. None of it rhymed properly, but the effort was there. Somebody else built a picnic for us. The romantic dedication on display would have impressed Shakespeare, assuming Shakespeare had access to Roblox. Eventually, I began feeling slightly guilty. Not because anyone was getting seriously hurt. Everyone was having fun. But because I knew the truth. These people had fallen in love with an illusion. They weren't talking to some mysterious girl. They were talking to a dude whose main talent was making poor decisions for entertainment. The irony was beautiful. Some players had spent hours competing for affection from a person who wasn't even who they thought. It felt like the world's weirdest social experiment. Then everything exploded. A player joined who somehow recognized me from one of my normal games. They walked over and casually said my actual username. My soul left my body. The room froze. Every guy who had been orbiting me suddenly stopped moving. I typed, "What? Trying to play dumb?" The player replied with, "Wait, aren't you a guy?" Ladies and gentlemen, that sentence hit harder than a truck. Silence. Pure silence. You could practically hear the dramatic music. Suit guy stopped typing. Bacon hair stopped moving. Heart emoji guy vanished into another dimension. Rich guy simply stood there, processing information like Windows XP trying to run modern software. Then came the reactions. One player said, "No way." Another typed 20 question marks. Someone accused me of lying, which was fair because, technically speaking, I had built this castle of nonsense brick by brick. The funniest reaction came from the guy who proposed. He simply typed, "Bro." Nothing else. Just bro. A single word carrying the emotional weight of an entire movie trilogy. I couldn't stop laughing. The server descended into complete chaos. Some people were angry. Others thought it was hilarious. A few players admitted they respected the commitment. Bacon hair declared that friendship was stronger than romance and asked if we could still hang out, which honestly made him the most wholesome person there. Suit guy left immediately. Rich guy claimed he knew all along, which was the digital equivalent of saying you meant to fall down the stairs. Nobody believed him. Heart emoji guy returned and announced he felt betrayed by society. A bit dramatic, but points for passion. Surprisingly, most people ended up laughing about the whole thing. Once the shock wore off, everyone realized how ridiculous the situation had become. We'd spent hours participating in what amounted to the strangest reality show never broadcast. People started roasting each other. The proposal guy got teased. Suit guy returned and admitted he'd spent 30 minutes choosing compliments. Bacon hair proudly announced he'd still bought the ice cream. The atmosphere transformed from romance to comedy. In a weird way, revealing the truth made everyone more relaxed. Nobody had to compete anymore. Nobody had to act cool. The entire illusion collapsed, and underneath all the nonsense were just a bunch of bored Roblox players trying to have fun. Looking back, the experience taught me something important. Dating servers are absolutely insane. People form attachments faster than software updates. Entire rivalries appear over conversations lasting less than 10 minutes. Human beings are fascinating creatures. Give us blocky avatars and unlimited free time, and somehow we recreate reality television with extra emojis. I entered the server expecting 10 minutes of laughs. Instead, I witnessed heartbreak, poetry, betrayal, marriage proposals, conspiracy theories, and enough second-hand embarrassment to fuel a small nation. And somehow, against all odds, every guy in the server managed to fall in love with a person who wasn't even who they thought. Which, honestly, feels like the most Roblox story ever created.